The president did a very long stand-up press conference with the media, and they're coming unhinged, falsely accusing him. And I thought the greatest service that I could be to you would be to play good portions of it so that you can hear for yourself what the president said. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. What's this? It's not Monk. It's the president as the puppeteer with a marionette show with the media. I love watching him interact with the press. Now, if you have watched or seen or read the news or listened to the news over the last 24 hours, you've probably heard from fake news something about the president, that he's anti-Semitic or that he has caved into the NRA. Listen, they're just unhinged. The fake news is unhinged. And so I'm going to play for you segments of the president's stand-up discussion with the press before he got on Air Force One yesterday. In this section, you're going to hear him talk about the Federal Reserve and interest. You're going to hear him talk about the Second Amendment. And you're going to hear him talk about veteran suicide. We let the president speak for himself.
So the economy is doing very, very well. We'll see what happens with the Federal Reserve, whether or not they finally get smart and reduce interest rates like many other places around the world that we have to compete with. But our economy is the strongest in the world by far, nothing even close. And a lot of good things are happening. We had some very good retail numbers this morning, as you saw. And I guess the stock market is quite a bit up. So, good.
Mr. President, are you demanding that Jay Powell lower interest rates?
No, I don't demand it, but if he used his head, he would lower them. In Germany, they have a zero interest rate, and we do compete. We're much stronger than Germany, but we do compete with Germany. In Germany, they have zero interest rate, and when they borrow money, I mean, when you look at what happens, look at what's going on over there. They borrow money, they actually get paid to borrow money, and we have to compete with that. So, if you look at what's happening around the world, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve have totally missed the call. I was right, and just about everybody admits that. I was right. He did quantitative tightening. He shouldn't have done that. He raised interest rates too fast, too furious. And we have a normalized rate, you call it that. And now we have to go the other direction. We'll see if he does it. If he does it, you'll see a rocket ship. You'll see a boom. If he doesn't, we have a very strong economy. But we could be in a place that this nation was seldom at if we had interest rates cuts by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has let us down. They missed the call. They raised them too fast. They raised it too high, and they did quantitative tightening. They shouldn't have done the tightening, and they shouldn't have raised them to the extent. We could have had some raises, but nothing like they did.
Mr. Trump, why did you back down on background checks?
With a strong appetite for background checks.
Oh, I have an appetite for background checks. We're going to be doing background checks. We're working with Democrats. We're working with Republicans. We already have very strong background checks, but we're going to be filling in some of the loopholes, as we call them, at the border. And speaking about at the border, it would be really nice if the Democrats would indeed fix the loopholes, because it would be really nice. But despite that, I want to thank Mexico. They have 26,000 soldiers at our border, and they're really stopping people from coming in. So what happens is, with background checks, we're dealing with Democrats, we're dealing with Republicans, we're dealing with the NRA, we're dealing with gun owners, we're dealing with everybody. And I think we're going to have something, hopefully, that's meaningful.
Sir, are you paying the NRA?
No, I didn't say anything about that. We had a great talk with Wayne yesterday. Didn't say anything about that. We just talked about concepts. Wayne agrees things have to be done also. And we have areas where we can close. And for instance, we did fix NICS last time. We have a lot of background checks right now. Gun owners can tell you that, others can tell you that. But there are certain weaknesses. We want to fix the weaknesses. And I think that'll happen. Let's see what happens.
What do you
I'm
stand
concerned that no matter what we agree to, when we get there, I'm concerned the Democrats will say, oh, well, we now want this and we want, and you know, it's a slippery slope. And that's what actually your gun owners and a lot of other people are concerned with. But assuming that that's not going to take place by the Democrats, assuming they really want to get this done, we can get it done.
Sir, you said it wasn't a slippery slope. Why is it now a slippery slope?
Organizers there say they remain concerned about veteran suicides.
You got to speak up.
Veteran suicides, AMVET says it's their top priority. Talk with me about what the administration's task force has done since its creation.
Well, we're doing a lot having to do with veteran suicide. We have a task force that's set up. There's a product that's made right now that just came out by Johnson & Johnson, which has a tremendously positive, pretty short term, but nevertheless a positive effect. I've instructed the head of the VA to go out and buy a lot of it, and we are buying a lot of it. Hopefully we're getting it at a very good cost. And this is I guess it's a form of a stimulant where if somebody is really in trouble from the standpoint of suicide, it can do something. It's pretty well known, just came out. It's made, I believe, by Johnson & Johnson, and we have calls in now to Johnson & Johnson. Those calls, we've been dealing with them for 2 months on buying a lot of it.
I'll be right back, friend. When we return, the president and Denmark and whether or not we get to buy Greenland. If we buy it, I am so going there. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. You probably heard that the president floated an idea about buying Greenland, which has been floated by many presidents. This is not new, it's not unique. And the leader of Denmark spoke very disrespectfully and in a hostile manner toward President Trump. He said, fine, I'm canceling the trip. This had the media, again, coming unglued. Let's hear from the president himself, and also putting to rest the doubts about whether or not President Trump is going to stand by the Second Amendment. President Trump.
Mr. President, can you explain your decision not to go to Denmark? Is it really because they wouldn't talk about selling Greenland?
No, Denmark, I looked forward to going, but I thought that the Prime Minister's statement that it was absurd, it was an absurd idea, it was nasty. I thought it was an inappropriate statement. All she had to do is say, no, we wouldn't be interested, but we can't treat the United States of America the way they treated us under President Obama. I thought it was a very not nice way of saying something. They could have told me no. This is something that's been discussed for many years. Harry Truman had the idea of Greenland. I had the idea. Other people have had the idea. It goes back into the early 1900s. But Harry Truman very strongly thought it was a good idea. I think it's a good idea because Denmark is losing $700 million a year with it. It doesn't do them any good, but all they had to do is say, no, we'd rather not do that, or we'd rather not talk about it. Don't say what an absurd idea that is. Because she's not talking to me. Excuse me. She's not talking to me. She's talking to the United States of America. You don't talk to the United States that way, at least under me. Now, President Obama, when they wouldn't let him land in the Philippines, when they treated him so badly at so many places, the Philippines is one that comes to mind. That's different. That's different. They can treat him any way they want to. That's up to him. But they can't treat the United States with a statement, how absurd.
Sir, who are you accusing American Jews of being disloyal to, sir?
Let your wife do it.
Thank you, Mr.
Who's the boss? Who's the boss?
I am the boss.
I agree. She's the boss. I agree. Go ahead.
Melania the boss?
You got a lot of people. Yes. It's got a lot of people watching. Go ahead.
Mr. President, with regard to background checks, why shouldn't anyone who wants to buy a gun go through a background check? What's wrong with that?
Well, what we're doing is I want guns to be in the hands of people that are mentally stable. And those people, I want them to easily be able to get a gun. But people that are insane, people that are sick up here, I don't want them to be able to get a gun.
Wouldn't a background check be a good idea for anybody who wants to buy a gun? Wouldn't a background check be a
If
good
a
idea?
person is sick, if a person is mentally ill, if a person has done things in their past that are a horror, like in the case of Dayton, except it got expunged because I guess he was 17 years old when he wrote a list out, and the list said it was a death, not about guns. He had a kill list and he had a rape list. But it was 17, and one of the things we're talking about is getting rid of the age limit. He was 17, so when he turned 18, it was expunged. So we didn't find out about that. And a big percentage of the school, the parents wouldn't let their kids go to that school because they heard about it. Okay, it was a very big thing. When he was 18, it all went away. We can't let that happen.
Sir, you said that Russia was kicked out of the G7.
100 people a day die from guns. Do you see that as a public health emergency?
I do. And they die for a lot of other reasons too. But they do. And as I've said, and I think I've said it very loudly and plainly, and I don't think I've changed positions at all. We're working on background checks. There are things we can do, but we already have very serious background checks. We have strong background checks. We can close up the gaps. We can do things that are very good and things that, frankly, gun owners want to have done. But we also have to remember the gun doesn't pull the trigger, a person does, and we have great mental illness.
Sir, what do you say to Republicans who want to primary you? Republicans who want to primary you?
Go ahead.
The Justice Department plans to dust off the H. Brown law and prosecute the Antifa demonstrators under the law that makes it a federal crime.
We're looking at a lot of different things relative to Antifa. Antifa, in my opinion, is a terrorist organization. You see what they've been doing. We've had great support on that. We're looking at various different things.
So why are you coming up with ways to hold migrant families longer? To hold migrant families?
Go ahead, behind you. Behind you.
So with Greenland entirely off the table, are you looking at any additional lands for potential expansion?
No, we're just looking. Greenland was just an idea, just a thought. But I think when they say it was absurd and it was said in a very nasty, very sarcastic way, I said, we'll make it some other time. We'll go to Denmark. I love Denmark. I've been to Denmark. And frankly, we'll do it another time.
Sir, who are you accusing American Jews of being
Respect
disloyal to?
has to be shown to the United States. Go ahead.
There you have it, friends. They're going to show respect to the United States. We protect them. We protect them. And they're going to speak to us that way? I don't think so. We'll cancel the trip. We'll do it again later. I hope they learned their pathetic little lesson. I'll be right back.
I also want to speak tonight directly to Muslims throughout the world. We respect your faith. Its teachings are good and peaceful. And those who commit evil in the name of Allah blaspheme the name of Allah.
We have reaffirmed again and again that the United States is not and never will be at war with Islam. Islam teaches peace.
Islam is a religion of peace. They are not Muslims, they are monsters.
We've been told that Muslim terrorists have hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam. But Islamic art and literature tell a very different story. To know the truth, we only have to study the narrative of the founder of Islam, Muhammad, in his own words. Ilhan Omar, Muslim, hardcore anti-Semite. Rashida Tlaib, Muslim, hardcore anti-Semite. They're required to by their religion. Ocasio-Cortez, she's just immature, a little light in the brain. She's an anti-Semite. So the president doubled down and said, look, if you vote for these Democrats, you're not being faithful to Israel. It's got the media going crazy. Watch it for yourself, people, and then you'll see. Oh, the other one was that he said only a weak person would say anything else. And then a great and funny part about Obama and Russia. Enjoy.
Go ahead.
Yesterday you said that Jews, American Jews who vote for Democrats, are disloyal. To whom are they being disloyal, sir? And that's a well-known anti-Semitic trope.
So I have been responsible for a lot of great things for Israel. One of them was moving the embassy to Jerusalem, making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. One of them was the Golan Heights. One of them, frankly, is Iran. Iran is a very far weakened nation right now, much different. Hopefully something works out. We'll see if it happens, it happens. Wait a minute, wait. No president has ever done anywhere close to what I've done between Golan Heights, Jerusalem, Iran, and other things. Wait a minute. No president has done what I've done. We have a group, I call it AOC plus 3. You could call the person Representative Tlaib, you could say Representative Omar, you could go any way you want to go. They are anti-Semites, they are against Israel. She had a plan to greatly embarrass Israel by going there with the fact that she wanted to see her grandmother. I assume that's true, I hope that's true. But it was very bad, very bad. The things that she and others of that group and other Democrats have said. And they have become the face of the Democratic Party. And I will tell you this, in my opinion, the Democrats have gone very far away from Israel. I cannot understand how they can do that. They don't want to fund Israel. They want to take away foreign aid to Israel. They want to do a lot of bad things for Israel. In my opinion, you vote for a Democrat, you're being very disloyal to Jewish people, and you're being very disloyal to Israel. And only weak people would say anything other than that.
But sir, they're Americans first, no?
I haven't heard anybody say that, just the opposite. I think that if you vote for a Democrat, you're very, very disloyal to Israel and to the Jewish people.
Sir, what do you say to the Republicans who want to primary you?
Well, I'm at 94% now in the Republican Party, the highest in history, the highest of any Republican. So I think they'd have a hard time.
You said Russia, sir. You said Russia was kicked out of the G8 because they outsmarted. You said Russia was kicked out of the G8 because they outsmarted Obama. In fact, it was because they annexed Crimea. You know that. They're still there.
That was outsmarting Obama. So Russia outsmarted President Obama. They took over during his term, not during mine, Crimea.
They're still there. Why let them in now?
They took over Crimea. If you'd stop being an organ of the Democrats, I mean, you know, you'd let me answer the question. I'll answer it very easily. It's a very simple question. The fact is, President Putin totally outsmarted President Obama on Crimea and other things, including the red line in the sand, all right? He outsmarted, he made a living on outsmarting President Obama. And frankly, because of it, Obama was upset, and he got Obama out of what was the G8 into the G7. It's come up. Should we put Russia back in? We spend a lot of time talking about Russia at those meetings, and they're not there. I think it would be a good thing if Russia were there, so we can speak directly, not have to speak all the, by telephone and other things. So, here's the thing. It's a vote of what's now the G7. They were taken out because Putin outsmarted on Crimea, on the red line, on other things. Totally outsmarted Obama. Obama was upset. They took him out. I think Russia should be a part of it because we're looking for world peace and other things, trade and other things. And it would be a lot easier to have Russia in where they had always been.
But they're still there, sir. But, sir, they're still there. So why let them in if they're still there?
When you were talking to us in the Oval Office, you said you have the executive authority to index capital gains funds. But a 1992 Office of Legal Counsel opinion from the Treasury Department says...
I read the same report as you. I'm not looking to do indexing. I've studied indexing for a long time. I think it will be perceived if I do it as somewhat elitist. I don't want to do that. I want taxes for the middle class the workers, the people that work so hard. That's what I'm looking. I think indexing is really probably better for the upper income groups. I'm not looking to do that, but if I wanted to do it, I believe I could, but I'd need a letter from the Attorney General.
Sir, why are you coming?
Only a weak person would say something else. Ha ha. I'm gonna take a break. There's more with the president when we come back. Don't go away. You're gonna love this. It's about China. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, "I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life." Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, "What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced." Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. Introducing Roxy Guitar. If you're a guitar or bass player, whether you play acoustic or electric, check out Roxy Guitar. I've been playing for over 40 years and seen guitar stores all over America. I've never seen a store like Roxy Guitar. Roxy Guitar has over 700 guitars in stock, over 1,500 pedals, over 200 amps. For the beginner or price-conscious buyer, there's Michael Kelly guitars. For the serious player or professional, Roxy Guitar has the finest selection of guitar lines I've ever seen. You know I love Warrior guitars. Roxy Guitar has over 100 Warriors in stock. They have Heritage, G&L, Gretsch, John Sears, BC Rich, Duesenberg, Dean, legendary guitars at great prices, including pre-owned Gibsons, Fenders, and more. Let them know you heard about Roxy Guitar from Randall Terry and receive 10% or more off your purchase on select items. Go to roxyguitar.com. Watch the president throw down over fake news in China.
Taking America into a recession, is it worth it? And do Americans need to back that up?
The fake news, of which many of you are members, is trying to convince the public to have a recession. Let's have a recession. The United States is doing phenomenally well. But one thing I have to do is economically take on China, because China has been ripping us off for many years. President Clinton, President Bush, and President Obama and others should have done this long before me. My life would be much easier, although I enjoy doing it, but my life would be much easier if I just said, let China continue to rip off the United States, all right? It'd be much easier, but I can't do that. We are winning against China. They've lost 2.5 million jobs in a very short period of time. They want to make a deal. It's got to be a deal that's good for the United States. Where they want to make a deal, probably we will make a deal, but if I didn't do that, and I'm not doing this, somebody said it's Trump's trade war. This isn't my trade war. This is a trade war that should have taken place a long time ago by a lot of other presidents. Over the last 5 or 6 years, China's made $500 billion. 500 billion, ripped it out of the United States. And not only that, if you take a look, intellectual property theft, add that to it, and add a lot of other things to it. So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. So I'm taking on China. I'm taking on China on trade. And you know what? We're winning because we're the piggy bank. We're the one that all these countries, including the European Union, wants to rob and takes it.
All right, I'm out of time. Great job, President Trump. Did you laugh out loud when he looked around and said, I'm the chosen one? Friends, this president is doing a great service to America simply by exposing the fake news, the hostility, the craziness of the Democrats. And he might not do and say everything the way I would do and say it, but he's what we've got. And he's doing a great job. And I hope that you're going to stand by him. God bless you.